What is up, boys? Back out here. Hopefully actually back out here. I gotta button up the VR4. Chris says he wants to come. I gotta make sure this thing's at least safe to be on the road. It needs plugs. These plugs are fouled out after messing around with two-step. There's something loose in the rear end. I gotta get this car dialed in. So I gotta move some stuff around to get this car over here on the lift. I'm almost positive that it's this passenger rear wheel. I think it's like one of the tow arms or something. Hopefully it's not wheel bearing, because I got a bigger problem if it is, because I've already put 2 wheel bearings in that side. That's why I ended up getting the whole new control arm kit and subframe kit from Volk. So let me fire up this Huracan. I'll give you guys a cold start. If you don't know, this straight piped. I did a whole video on that. It's pretty loud. Hands down the loudest car I've ever heard. It like hurts your ears in here. Warm up a little bit. I'll bring you guys back. I'll get you a cold start on the VR4. Everything seems good. AFRs are good. It cranked a little bit longer than normal there. These plugs are pretty much done, son. Dude, this 110 sucks. 5 minutes, my eyes are burning. The shop is just full of it. Got the car up on the lift. It's definitely this wheel. I already checked it. I'll show you guys though. It's up and down. I'm hoping that it's like this upper control arm, ball joint. Maybe one of the jam nuts came loose after I got the alignment. Everything else, I went around the whole car. Everything else is solid. It's all new. It should be. All right, boys. Found a couple problems. One problem was like they had this upper control arm bound up. See how there's like a bend in here, and you can like kind of move on that Heim joint. They had this one so bound up that way. So as soon as I went to check and see if this was tight, and now the Heim joint's moving. So that helped. I don't have any more play. But another problem is that this was like never tightened back on. And I don't even know why they loosened this one. It has no adjustment like these ones. This is just solid. Your adjustment's here. But this, I got like 2 whole turns on it. The other, everything else I can't even budge. And I don't have any more play. I've been checking. I'm just happy that wasn't a wheel bearing. To find this trailing arm with the like the whole knuckle and the spindle and everything was like all in one piece here, that probably would have been possible without like finding a parts car or something. I'm just gonna go back over and check all their work. Everything's tight. That was definitely it. So that's awesome. It was just that. Here, I'll go up in the air and show you. The only other problem I might have that I'm feeling is the diff. So like I got the rear diff bracket, so it's all solid now, but the front, I never ended up replacing with solid bushings. So these front 2 are still rubber bushings right there, but I have solid in the rear. So I've complained about this before in the past. It's like so hard to explain. It's like when you take off, squats, and then you like feel something torque around in there, and then it'll take off. It might be because I have rubber bushings just on the front. Maybe just the front of that diff's moving just a little bit while the back's staying solid. I don't know. At the same time though, I'm putting out 600 foot-pounds of torque. So I mean, this, you're gonna feel stuff binding up. I mean, it's ready to break everything at 600 foot-pounds of torque. I still have a stock transfer case, stock 5-speed transmission ready to throw out 3rd gear. It's gonna be the time to start upgrading that stuff. I don't have time to do all that before Chris gets here. I still haven't made my mind if I want to do the 6-speed. I think I might do the JDM 6-speed, where you just do the 6-speed transmission and you leave your 5-speed diff. Been on the phone trying to find plugs because I want to run 7s again. Right now I ran 8s. I talked about that before. Kind of just repeating myself at this point. This right here, ever since I did that phenolic, is how I think you say it, spacer. Before, remember I had studs. They're right here. But since I was running that spacer, these were too short. And the spacer kit comes with these bolts. Any heat cycle I go through, these back off. I cannot keep them tight, and I don't want to put Loctite on them because you have to take this off every time you do your plugs, because it wraps around the back if you don't know. I've been sitting here trying to find a stud kit or just somewhere where I can go get studs. So what you gotta do to get these rear plugs is you gotta take all this apart. You gotta get your intercooler pipe out the way, get your throttle cable off, get your intake plenum off, or upper intake manifold, whatever you want to call it. You gotta get these off, take all these out, unplug everything back here, your map sensor, your boost controller, your fuel pressure regulator, your brake booster, you got some ground wires back there. It's just a pain. I've done it 100 times, but I don't think I'm gonna walk you guys through step by step this time. There's plenty of videos of me doing that. Got that off, now you can get to these rear plugs. It just sucks because like, I don't know what to do about the stud things. Like, I'm not talking bad about 3SX's thing. I think it's probably more likely something to do with my intake runners, but I have to torque those down, those bolts, after every heat cycle. So I think it'll be better if I could put studs back in there like I used to have. Because I mean, I filled those studs with red Loctite, and then when I took them out, I had to like clean those all out. I mean, my threads might be compromised, and that's why it's backing off. And I don't want to put Loctite on these bolts. I gotta take them out every time I do plugs. You can't just put Loctite on there, you know? All right, let's pull these back plugs out and see what they look like. All right, well, that's the middle one in the back. This is cylinder 4. I don't know why this one's so much different than the front ones. That's weird. Let's pull the rest of these out. Why is the back bank all white? Let's see what 6 looks like. It's the same. That's so strange. Leave that down in the comments. I've never seen that. Yeah, so here's 1, 3, 5. But then these ones are all just white. Like these ones leaned out, and these ones got rich. That's weird that they're that dramatically different. Let me get my compression tool out. We'll do a compression test. Got the compression tool out. I don't understand why it'd be 2 different colors. Turn off spark. Let's go back, turn off fuel. Now this tool is junk, so as long as they're all within the same number is all I care about right now. This gauge is like just some Amazon thing I bought. That's garbage. Let's see what it does. Dude, if I got Rudnick's luck, I'm gonna be pissed. What, I don't know, 135 or something? $55, 155. I don't think I let the front one crank enough. I think I just did 3 pumps and was like, oh, that's probably good because I couldn't see it. The 3 back ones are all good. They're all right there at like 155. Dude, why the fuck? So everything on the back is just right above 150, right at the other mark, which I would say would be 155. Everything up front is one mark before that, so it's all 140. So it's 10 PSI different from front bank to rear bank with this gauge. I started making plans with Rudnick, and now I got his luck. That makes no sense. I built everything. It's all on my channel. All the rings are gapped the same. Everything's the same. And why would it be the whole front bank and the whole rear bank? I don't know, it'll be a second year world. Let me do some research. What's up, guys? I just want to jump in here real quick and address the people that like actually want to be here. The last video I put out, no matter what I would have done, I was gonna have people hate on me regardless. So if I would have just went back like nothing was happening and just put out a video like this one, people would have been like, I can't believe you're just gonna act like nothing's happening. Those last 2 videos were obviously just for views or subs or clout or whatever. And so I put out a very short video just answering some of your guys' questions, and then went into working over on Adrian's car. I have people sitting here saying that I'm dragging it on and I'm just doing that for views and clout. Because, like I said, there was no win at all. So, for those of you that want to be here, there's this little explanation for you. Hopefully I can just continue my normal videos and work something out, but I don't know. Enjoy the rest of this one. Okay, back out here. It's actually been a couple days. I had to order plugs, and I had to go over to Adrian's house and cut a piece of wire and harness off of one of his parts cars because I forgot all about that plug. I want to replace that. I don't know how much I've shown or how much I will show. I did a compression test to be curious. I didn't think anything was wrong. These were all 140.
These were all 150, if not more. So I panicked and I started looking into it. One, Mitsubishi actually says that there could be 10 to 12 psi difference between cylinders, but it's still weird to me that it's all these three and all those three, which might mean that I have not the best valve seals or something on like one head. You know what I mean? Like maybe one guy did that head and another guy did this head at the machine shop, or they weren't at the same temperature because I just ran the car. So that might have been hotter up to operating temperature where all the tolerances are correct. That's why that was at like 150 and these were all at 140 because they were cooler. I don't know. I'm gonna do a compression test again real quick, and we're gonna cut up this wire harness, replace these plugs over here on the ignition control module. I also have a brand new OEM one somewhere. It might be in the car. Yeah, I'll try to find that. I'll bring you guys back. Let me set everything up. I even got the battery charger up just because I did those ones first and then these ones, maybe the battery was a little low too, and temperature. I just want to try to at least be within a few PSI. Even though Mitsubishi says it's alright to be within 10 to 12 PSI difference, that's super weird that it's all one bank and all the other bank. Especially when the plugs are completely different too, where everything in the back looks a little lean, everything in the front looks a little rich. So I'm pretty sure all this, me explaining this, is already in the video, so I'll bring you guys back and let you know what the compression test said. Okay, that's already looking better. I don't know if it's gonna show up on camera or not. Let's see what the back looks like. We'll just do 1 and 2. Whew, I feel so much better. Okay, I feel way better. This one's just below 150 now in the back. These were all at like 145. So I mean, it's within 5. Still don't understand why it's bank to bank. Maybe I didn't torque the head down as good on this one. I don't know. Maybe that's oil that's leaking a little bit into the cylinders. It drives me nuts. That's like perfect numbers bank to bank. All the same, just 5 different. I don't know, leave down in the comments what you guys think. So, if you guys remember, this is your control module. I got a brand new one. I thought I was having problems with this, and I switched back to the OEM one, or the original. These are both OEM. And this plug does not snap into place anymore on my car. And I got a couple gremlins up here, just copper showing on my cast, which will affect spark too. So, I just went and got a whole chunk of the wiring harness off of one of Adrian's parts cars. I got this part that I tested already. It does snap into place real nice, real tight. No copper showing anywhere. And then where's the blue one? Right here. No copper showing anywhere. So I think I'm gonna replace this and that for sure. Oh yeah, let me gap spark plugs first. I'm gonna gap them at 18 again. I got 7s, just because I think the 8s were fouling out too easy. So here's a part number. This is all most people will need, is to go to 7s. It's colder, but they're not 8s. It's not too cold. All right, I didn't bring you guys back. I don't know what I was doing. I just got in the zone. So this is the plug that I need for sure. I need this one and this blue one. My original plan was to cut it, solder it all together, and hit it with shrink wrap. But then I started looking at it, and you can take this apart. So instead of messing up this one, I've been practicing on the one that's broke, which as soon as I started tinkering with it, it just snapped in half. There's the plug right there. I was hoping once I pulled that thing out, this whole thing was gonna slide out as one. I wasn't gonna have to depen everything. Okay, well I'm sitting here over on the bench, and it came out pretty easy. This is a one-time use thing. Like I've used clips like this before in the past. You can press them in there, and then they snap in place and don't want to come out. So there's like a little thing in there, and once you slide it over the top, it snaps over it. So the best way to do it is work this way, and then that little hole down at the bottom, use a pick right up on the top, and then once you feel it, pull down on it and they slide out. It took me a while to figure that out. But these two over here, this black and red right on the ends, on this one I cannot get out because those are the ones I started with. I got them so messed up, I might just have to actually cut these ones and splice, because these connectors are still good. These ones came out like butter. All these connectors look great. Now I got the new plug on, those 4. I ended up just cutting and soldering the black and the red. I just cut it off of this harness because I screwed them up so bad trying to get them out. My connectors, like all of them, are just so brittle. As soon as you start like poking at them, they just snap and stuff. But everything else has gone to plan. Snap, there you go. Now you can put this back on. Okay, back to where I left off yesterday. This is the ignition control module. It goes down there. And it used to be a real pain to get to. You used to have to take all this apart over here. But now that I got this intercooler, when it's factory, you gotta take that whole conjunction box out of the way, the intercooler out of the way, everything to be able to get to this. I just had to take that one filter off. I really even have to do that. It just goes right there and screws to that bracket. 10 hours of run time and it already looks like it's leaking, so this might be part of my breakup problem too. So I do have a brand new one. All the numbers match up. I ordered this off Rock Auto, and the only reason why I got it is because it said Mitsubishi on it and all the numbers are exactly the same as that one. So I hope this isn't like some Chinese knockoff, but it looks the same, it feels the same, everything's identical. So now that I have this intercooler and I don't have that whole piping thing, you can just get in between these coils with a screwdriver and get that off. So let me screw this new one on, button this back up. That was the best sounding clip I've ever heard in my life. You guys know I've been fighting that plug pretty much since day one. It finally just snapped in place. Now I don't have to worry about it falling off and killing the car. And that happened to me multiple times. I'd just be driving, hit a bump, that wiggled off. And then I had it held on with some super glue. And then after the dyno runs, that super glue melted and I threw a zip tie on it. That's probably one of my biggest breakup problems. Is it coming loose and going back tight, coming loose and going back tight. I think I'm gonna take this valve cover off and check those head studs. Make sure I'm not just having head lift on one, because it still is bothering me that they're like perfectly 5 to 10 psi off of the back. I just want to check. Now I never did go back and retorque these. I know that's like a big thing with some people, that they'll torque them, you know, to 105, go do a dyno run, then loosen them all back to 80, and then torque them again back to 105. I never did that. I'll just check them all in order and see if they're at least at the 105. I think that's what it is. I'm gonna look it up one more time with this ARP. Okay, I'm getting a quarter turn out of all of these at 105. The torque spec is 110. I'm doing it in order. Checked at 105, and I'm getting a quarter turn out of everything. I'm gonna go back one more time at 110. So with the front of the engine this way, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That one still moved quite a bit. Yeah, I wish I was recording that, but once I got a quarter turn out of all of them at 105, I was just like, I just better hit them all real quick. I didn't want one just sitting tight. I don't know, I'm gonna call a couple people and see if they think I should back it off and then retorque them, like some of these drag guys do. I know a lot of drag guys, especially on like 350s and shit, they'll go out, they'll do a couple passes, like full tilt on the strip, come back, loosen them all up to like 80, and then torque them all back down to like 110. I don't think this torque wrench will stop at loosening. I don't think I can only loosen to 80. Well, the plan was to have us all back together and driving it in this video, but I can't get a valve cover gasket, and I ripped one of mine. And I bought these Velcro ones before. They're too thick, they don't fit. I can't get them to lock in place. And I ripped 2 of the OEM ones. Look at that. So, I don't know what to do. This might be the end of the video. If you guys made it this far, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Next video, we should be back on the street, ready for Chris. I'm gonna take this valve cover off and go over those studs too, but there's no point in recording it. See you in the next one, boys.